for today's cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
Boy, I tell you, the intensity just keeps to be going exponentially day by day.
This is a rough one, and we're close to Passover, too. I don't know what this...
Well, it always happens like that, close to one of God's appointed times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's
Is that just because the devil just wants to just
sure
punch people in the face?
Oh, absolutely.
And get them down before...
Mm-hmm. Just because he knows his time's short.
Try to break their spirits while just as much as they can.
Right.
As he can.
And it's interesting because, as far as we are what we call first century believers, we do what we do because that we try to do what Christ did.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that has been controversial. I've been doing this for, about 20 years or more at this point?
Yeah.
I've tried to figure it out at one point, and it's like, it's been, close to 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's always been controversial.
Yes.
And it's one of those that it's worse now.
Yep.
Because you've always got people that they want to make these judgments, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what we're doing. If somebody says, hey, why are you doing this? We'll gladly share that. But you've always got people, and it's, again, that small child mentality of calling people ugly names. And we've got that everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the AI and I are not doing well.
No, I don't think the AI and any I is doing well right now.
I said something. AI does not understand sarcasm, any of these things. No. I made a simple statement that any human with any common sense would have understood what I was saying, but the AI did not. So I received my first penalty box on X.
Yeah, but what it was, he was like, what was it that you said?
It was I was actually responding to a comment that Elon Musk had made about someone that had said that truth basically is transitory or subjective. And I'm like, no. And it's like someone who thinks that truth is subjective, that's like, saying gravity, and then they jump off a roof.
Mm-hmm.
Which most people, if they've got a lick of sense, know not to jump off of a roof because gravity it is a truth.
Right.
But the AI did not understand that.
Well, there's a few people that would read that sentence, like actual humans, to read that sentence and be like, is she telling her?
No, not at all.
We know that.
Yeah, not at all. And so I found that most interesting. And so with the gatekeepers of speech, and Jordan Peterson, I had recently heard him speaking to someone who, he is one of the great minds of our time, I am convinced.
Mm-hmm.
And he was discussing the gatekeepers of speech, and how that they actually become the gatekeepers of thought. And that is detrimental to society, and it's detrimental to humans.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone feels that they cannot speak out, they cannot speak their mind, even if they don't do it as eloquently or as well as others, it is a matter of you learn a whole lot about someone by the words they use, how they speak, their cadence, the volume, everything like that. The actual words, it's the least important part of communication.
Yeah.
And of course, with text, you don't get any of that.
It's inflection, stuff like that.
Sure. And so it's most interesting how that the AI has become the gatekeeper. And Kid was watching something on, was it on YouTube that you were watching?
Yeah, it was on YouTube.
And that they have got to where now that the gatekeepers have determined that you cannot use words that have been used for thousands of years. You have to jump through a hoop and say unalive.
Well, dead ass, that started on TikTok. Like, that TikTok's the one that started that shit about, like, saying, like, oh, so-and-so person was unalived, blah, 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 and not being able to say certain words.
So, do we have to go and say you have an unalived certificate now?
Right? I don't know. I hope it's gold embellished. But,
Yeah, really?
But since the adpocalypse on YouTube, that's when they started cracking down on what people could and could not say.
Okay, and I'm convinced, because I'm like, I thoroughly believe that the AI, all right, what it is, and without getting into one of my total rant rabbit holes, it's one of these, a lot of it is where these people have tried to, get God out of society.
Yes, they've tried to make it a secular world.
And so what they have done is created a God of their own making, which is AI. So you've got imperfect beings who create something that's supposed to legislate or their morality. You cannot legislate morality.
Right. You can't.
They've tried.
But if you take God out of the equation, that was like this person, this goth YouTuber that I watched quite frequently back in the day. I no longer do, because he just found out he's just a douche.
Right.
He was like, I'm so glad England is like becoming secular and stuff like that. And I'm like, so you're wanting a hedonistic-esque world.
But it's not secular anymore.
No.
It's not secular. It's just not Christian.
Right.
Wonder how he thinks about that now.
He still thinks the same thing.
Well, and does he live over there?
Yeah.
And it's interesting, because we understand very much that there have been people that have been very much wounded by religion. It doesn't matter which religion. There's lots of them. Because people are imperfect and they're them trying to explain things. That's why it has to be a personal journey.
Yes. The thing is, people who are genuine followers of Christ, you can tell them from others. But these people that have the label of Christian and the Christianity thing, they have used that to harm.
Mm-hmm.
And that has wounded a lot of people and led them away from the truth, which is God. Right.
And it's a matter, I don't know what they do with the passage where it says, judge not lest you be judged.
Right? Like,
I really don't get that.
Like, literally, judge not lest you be judged by the same judgment.
Uh-huh. As you judge others, so will you be judged.
Yeah.
That ain't, no. So it makes you think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So now they've created this AI, which is, Satan is both a title and a name, but it was primarily a title. It's the Satan, which is basically the district attorney, since we've had so much legal stuff going on in our nation lately.
Which the district attorney is always the accuser.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what the Satan is. Any mistake that anybody made that he was going to God, it's like, oh, well, they did this, and they did this, and they did this. And that's the thing about Christ. He's our defense attorney. He's going, up, Your Honor. Hey, no, that's already covered.
Yeah.
That's already covered.
Well, the thing is, the Satan, he was too much of a coward to even be like, I fucked up. So that's why he's always accusing others.
Well, that is partially true. And it's interesting, without, like I said, going down a total deep theology hole. There's
a whole thing behind it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As far as, is there a difference between Lucifer and, Satan? And we know that there was different ones involved in as far as the book of Enoch, because they were named. And
I thought he dropped, he shed that name Lucifer. And that's when he adopted the name Satan, which was the accuser and
Well, now, like I said,
the adversary, I
and
think
this
is what
is
it
what
was.
happens lots as far as scripture versus like Paradise Lost, which was, it may have been inspired, but it is a work of fiction, and people get confused, and that's just human. It's just human. But with the AI working on behalf or working as the accuser, you got to realize whatever these beings are, that's not just the AI, that what we call the forces of darkness, that's totally opposite of who God is. There is no empathy, no compassion, no understanding, no forgiveness, none of that.
No. None.
And that there are people that's like, yes, that's a good idea. Let's implement that. No.
Yeah, no.
But I'm convinced also there is an element of, from Harry Potter, Dolores Umbridge in AI.
Yeah. It's like, we're not going to be doing that again,
Oh my
are we?
God. It is. It is that she is the quintessential Karen.
Yeah. She's the Karen of the Harry Potter world. It's not cool.
Rowling is a brilliant... Those books were so well written. They were such a good read. The characters, and let me tell you something, her villains, oh, you hated them.
She made good villains.
She is a good writer.
But she also made really good heroes. Mm-hmm. Look at little Dumbledore. He ain't little, but...
Right. But
Snape wasn't truly a bad guy either.
Wasn't.
He was just a broken dude.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things about those stories, that when you got in there and it's like, oh, well, you just automatically hate whoever it is. And it's when you read further into it to sit there and go, oh, that's why they are the way they are. Mm-hmm. Because they're human and they're imperfect.
Yeah.
And we are all that. We are writing our own story day by
Literally,
day.
we are fallible.
We are. And the book, I was looking into that because I need to read that again. The Spirituality of Imperfection. And it's subtitled Storytelling in the Search for Meaning. And this is such a good book. I don't even know when it was that this was written. Truth is, it doesn't matter when it's written, it's going to hold up. Mm-hmm. But it talks about how that as humans, we learn through telling each other stories. Mm-hmm. Anything that we, that's how we communicate, is through stories pretty much.
Right.
If you, as far as going down to the grocery store or going to get gas, guess what? That's a story. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that are better at telling those stories. And in some of those, this is like incident report. But
do you think because this has been a big thing that has kicked off over the last few years. The horror genre of stories and stuff like that being told through like analog horror, stuff like
right.
ARGs. Is that reflective of the times almost?
I think so. Because if you look even as far as with those analog horror, there is a chaos element in all of them. Mm-hmm. It jumps around.
It does.
And that is what's going on in our world today, to sit and be able to truly read and form individual independent thought. Mm-hmm. And Kid and I were talking about that earlier before we started recording. As far as, I love books. Books just, and it's harder for me to read now because it's just old and visual. And technology takes up so much time that could be spent reading. And I do read. I read news stories and I read different things and stuff like that. But as far as to truly sit and lose yourself in a book, I don't do that as often as I used to.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing.
No.
That's a confession of mine.
One, books are like TV in your head. A lot of the time, it's better than TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's better than watching videos on the internet.
It is.
That's if you have a good book. There's some books that are
there's
bad.
some of them that just, and that's all there is to it. There's just some that are not, just because they got published does not mean they were worth reading.
Yeah.
But there's some that will stay with you, some that you can go back and revisit, just like an old friend, to sit there and go, I really need to read that again because there was wisdom there and I can't remember it all because we're human. Mm-hmm. And we had watched, what was it, Tales to Tell in the Dark? Was that the name of the series? Whatever it was. Stories to Tell in the Dark.
It wasn't Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
What was it? It was some
I don't got my phone on me.
It was out of the 80s or 90s or something like that.
Alone
It
in
was
the
a
Dark? No.
Canadian, hang on just a minute, let me find it. It was
By
a
the power of the
Canadian
Midnight
production.
Society, I present to you.
And it was so good. I mean, it was just a good little, Are You Afraid of the Dark was the name of it. Good little series. And the kids sat around the campfire and told stories.
Yeah. We watched.
We need to do that with each other again. It's important.
If someone tells that Sandman story, they're going to get chewed out.
That was, but the premise of that story was what was valuable. And it was this is the whole point of these stories, to sit and discuss them and say, okay, this was valuable, this was not valuable.
What was valuable about that story, though? Other than the fact that it was bad.
Well, the little girl she was 13 and she still loved fairy tales.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
And how that it was a sign of that times that they were telling her, oh, you need to grow up, you need to get rid of reading the fairy tales, and just that weirdness and sort of shaming this kid. You mean you're still, reading this? Mm-hmm. And it's like, that was probably one of the worst actual stories. And I told Kid, I said, if I'm not mistaken, within the same time frame, that it was also, I think it was a Canadian production, The Never Ending Story.
Yeah. The premise of that episode was basically like, yeah, you can like the stuff, but at some point you're going to have to put that down. You're going to have to put childish things away. That's what the premise of that episode was.
Which was totally...
The mother contradicted herself in a way by telling her, just don't let that child die too much.
Right. I mean, it was just
like,
it was a very poorly written episode was exactly what it was.
It was very poorly written. There's not one redeeming feature about that, redeeming quality about that episode, except like it looked cool.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that they wasted Bobcat Goldthwait's talent on that. Yeah. Because he was such a hoot back in the day. He really was. But that was how people who would say that fairy tales, and especially Grimm's and stuff like that, well, it's childishness. They've never read them.
Those stories are not for children. I mean, you can tell them to children, but like there's blood in a lot of them, violence, shit like that.
Yes, because it dealt with reality.
Yeah, very much.
And with the AI Umbridge, is it a denial of reality in some ways?
Mama, a lot of these people are denying reality. That's when you hear Delulu.
Yeah, damn. When you hear my head.
When you hear Delulu, she Fruity Loops Delulu. Like Fruity Loops, like just loopy, delusional. Mm-hmm.
Speech is a human need. Communication is a human need. Mm-hmm. Because it does some really bad things to somebody psychologically when they cannot communicate.
Right, but at this point, people are not. Some people, I'm not going to say all. Some people are just not willing to communicate anymore, and it is that thing like, I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Right.
Even though their reality is very much not truth.
Well, and and it doesn't have to be communicating online, but they need to communicate with someone somewhere. It is important to speak, to think, to listen to others, even if you don't agree with them. Those are the ones that you actually need to listen to, sometimes more than the ones you agree with.
Right.
You already know the opinion of the ones you agree with.
And listen, I'm all for live your life like a fucking cartoon character, or like movie lens eyes. But you do need you need to still be grounded in reality somewhere.
Absolutely. And this is one of those, is this AI in the tech world and stuff like that, is that a substitution for reality? Are they warping the human brain to the point, and as far as making them afraid of the world? Because just because you see a picture or a video of something that's going on in one specific spot, there's a whole lot of other ground out there.
Right. But because people see that one video, they will automatically make the assumption.
It feeds fear.
Yeah. That everything is like that.
It feeds the beast.
It does. And so it does warp people's perceptions of reality. And when people are chronically online, that's all they know. They don't know the real world at that point. People have forgotten that birds still chirp.
That was scary. And it's like they need to get out and go outside. And this has been this huge, huge worldwide psyop for a minute.
This one girl, now this was before like AI really kicked off. She was walking through Walmart and she was like, nothing feels real. Literally all of this is fake.
Yeah, and it's that is it
derealization.
Yes. And it's like, no, if you've got something or somebody telling you, I don't care if it's online in your head, in your spirit, whatever, that you are anything other than a beloved child of the Most High God, that you were created by love, from love, to be loved, and to show love, then that's the voice of the enemy. And you shut that thing down. And to be resilient. Now, let me tell you something. In the dojo, no, I mean, that was the whole thing. It was a matter of not just learning how to, as far as strikes and stuff like that, and blocks and different things like that, but how to take a hit.
Yeah.
And to pick yourself back up and take stance.
Now, if you got a broken leg, it's kind of hard to stand there.
Well, yeah, it is, but still, you know, I mean, that's
people
have
done it,
and you learn.
Yeah,
that is it is the journey of being human, to make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, ask for forgiveness, forgive other people, to understand that they're human, they're going through the same thing.
Literally, if you are in a shit situation, someone is always going through something similar.
And that is part of the storytelling
so
tradition.
You're not alone in that shit.
That is part of that.
Yeah.
And that this is where we have gotten away from the family units, and especially the elders. Those were the keepers of the stories. And I appreciate that little Navajo man that he comes on there and he tells the stories. He is the historian of the tribe and stuff. So he is a storyteller.
Yeah.
And to teach the others, and that he's teaching people, because in their tradition, it was like basically they have adopted everybody in.
Yep.
And that people, you know, they appreciate him and they honor him, because what he is doing is worthy of honor.
It is.
And as far as this, you want respect, act respectable.
Yeah.
It's not a hard concept.
It's not. It's not a hard concept in the slightest, but for some people, They don't get it.
Well, and a lot of them, they truly have not been taught.
That is true. A lot of them have been taught wrong.
Even, I mean, my God, when I was still counseling and stuff like that, and it would amaze me some of the things that these people did not know. Just basic life skill type things. Common sense thing. Never assume that somebody knows a thing. Because we do have some people that honestly are damn close to feral. That's reality.
That is, yeah. And it's not cool. It's not, and that cute. Means it's not a good look.
That they need, as far as other people, to help them. This is why I say situational awareness all the time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because people do get in their bubbles and they're like, oh, well, everything is unicorns and rainbows. No, it's not. But everything is not the 9th level of hell either.
No.
But as far as the AI Umbridge, that's all right, because I'm calling it out.
All that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, AI cannot keep people from speaking.
Is it jealous?
They can try.
Just as Lucifer was jealous of God and wanted to be God, is AI, is it another branch of his that he's jealous as far as humanity? Is it something else that has been developed as one of his tools to bring about pain and hurt to humans?
Well, because
it can never be a human.
Well, flat out, at the core, jealousy is one of his motives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, AI itself cannot think. It cannot compute emotions properly.
Right.
So it does not know jealousy, but it is being used by the people who are being led by the devil in a way.
Well, and we don't know exactly, and like I said, this possibility of artificial super intelligence. And there's a lot of things to sit and ponder. It's like, is that another tulpa? Has somebody opened a portal? Whatever it is, does not like humans.
Dead ass AIs like Replica, that little friend texting app or whatever, those do become tulpas in a way. And it's not good.
No.
The tulpas are very dangerous.
Well, it's not the same as a human to human contact, friendship, whatever.
Right, and in a way, that's sort of like the thing with imaginary friends. At a certain point, when does that imaginary friend become a tulpa?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what happens a lot of times. Is that these kids, especially, power of imagination is incredibly strong, especially in little people. The mind is
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It has abilities that these overheads or whatever have been trying to keep down for a long time. Who knows what we are capable of at this point?
And I think that's one of the things of why they keep with the fear and the worry and the stress, because that knocks down your ability to create.
It does.
Whether it's music or art or writing or anything that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you were going to design a world, and that's one of the things that with the game designers and stuff, they are doing that. They are designing worlds.
Yeah. I mean,
which is amazing.
What is art? Art is literally worlds being created by said artist.
Mm-hmm.
Game designers are artists, in a way.
Mm-hmm. We still need those people. There was some
Painters,
wonderful...
sculptors.
Yes, I was getting ready to say that people sharing their artwork and stuff on X, and it's like really good. Mm-hmm. And even if it wasn't, they tried, but the ones I have seen have been really good.
I have seen some real trash on DeviantArt. On DeviantArt and Twitter. Some people are brilliant artists, but they should not be making some shit.
But there again, you've got to, it's like, okay, you have to know a little bit about the artist. Was this somebody that was 12 years old and they're just learning how to do the art and they need the encouragement? Was it somebody, they did something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm not saying as far as like, oh, it's poorly done. No, some of it is just is really done well, but the actual content is
Oh,
just
well,
trash.
and that actually gives you, I don't care what that, whoever it was the other day said, that it does not give you an insight into the artist. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It's a window.
Yeah.
It's a window into the artist's mind.
John
And-
Giotto, honey, we praying for you.
Who? What?
John Giotto.
I love Junji Ito.
I do too.
But
He's
it
just-
would be scary being in a mind like that.
Yeah. But it gives him an outlet to let that out,
Yeah.
you know.
And I was actually talking to God last night about this. It was like, there's just some people that claim to be artists that are not, like that dude who pissed in a jar and put a
That
cross
was
in it.
just-
That's not art. And I was telling God,
That
like,
was blasphemy.
Exactly.
Oh, that was just like art professor. He was the maestro. There's no professors, no doctorate of art. But he was Dumbledore to me. And when that happened, and we both were just railing.
Yeah, that's not art.
And
That's just offensive.
The fact that taxpayer monies went to pay somebody to do that, that is so wrong on so many levels.
Elephant dung on a canvas. That's not art.
See, that's
A
gaslighting.
girl drinking some like colored liquid or whatever and then puking up on a canvas. That's not art.
That's somebody that sounds like a little bit of oppression, demonic oppression or something right there.
That Marina Abramovic, that ain't an art. That
No.
what she does is not art.
No, she's summoning shit. She
Yeah.
really, really is.
I mean,
some
that's-
dark magic.
Well, yeah, that's known in a lot of witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they do. She ain't an artist. She's a witch.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't trying to be mean. That's
No, it
just
just
fact.
is. Call it like it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk to any genuine practitioner. They will tell you, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just in here. Read stories. Write stories. Help other people learn how to find the story within them.
Right. I wish Labyrinth was like an actual book.
Yeah.
Imagine the world that he could have unraveled in a book form.
But the wonderful thing is, now this is where tech is being used for the power of good. You've got the fan art.
And the fan fiction, stuff like
Yes.
that. Now, some fan fiction is not.
It doesn't matter.
But
They're
like,
doing something.
yeah.
It's still alive.
Really is. People need to also just go back and read some classic books. Like, for example, Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good story.
Yeah. Incredible story.
Yeah. The Hobbit.
Yeah. Because the books, like I said, that is such reading is reading is like a
Lord
sacred
of the
thing
Rings.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a very intimate thing.
And people was like, oh, why read the book when I watch the movie? There's a lot of details that are in the books that are not in the movies.
Exactly.
That was like there was in the Harry Potter books, there was this character that was kind of like a goblin thing. He was like a ghost or whatever. He was the mischievous little thing. He was kind of a main character in the books too, and yet he was never in a single movie. He was in the games, but he was not in a single movie.
That was a series that, and I'm one of these that I sort of, I read at the speed that I speak. Mm-hmm. I think there's other people that do that. It's not just me. And sometimes it's a matter of being a little bit of a slower reader because I internalize. I will read something, I will think about it, but that one book, whichever one it was 1,000 and some pages. I read that thing in 3 days.
Dang.
It was that good. It was that. I don't even know if I slept, but it was that good. That's when somebody has created a world.
Yeah. I mean, even manga. I know it's not like an actual book, but it's still a world in there.
Sure it is. It's just different.
You're still reading, but it's not...
It's not a better than or lesser than. It's just a different type of thing.
Yeah.
But as far as the process of storytelling, and this is something in reading, and we need to recapture that. We need to, I don't know, rebrand it, re-glamorize it, or whatever, something. Yeah.
There's at a certain point, there's going to come a breaking point, and we're going to get like a booming renaissance of sorts.
I pray to God. I really do.
Because this shit, current times cannot last for long.
When Y2K came around and there was no Renaissance, I knew something was really, really wrong.
Well, did you see there's a new, it's similar to the Y2K scare. I think I told you about that.
It's just been perpetual fear.
Yeah. They were like, oh, in 2030, similar thing's going to happen. It's like, all right, and if it happens, good.
Yeah. And I think this is wearing down people's spirit. Like I said, you cannot live in a state of constant fear. It's not possible. Things start breaking down. Your adrenal glands start breaking down. So does your immune system, everything else. B vitamins, C vitamins, all these things are depleted.
Well, think. What did they call TV shows back in the day? Programs?
Mm-hmm.
It's programming people's minds.
Sure.
And the internet is no different.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Think for yourselves, people.
Yeah.
That's what we always tell you. We try to provide you with tools and food for thought and coffee for thought.
We do not want to live in a world that's like Mirror's Edge, where you have some runners who are trying to break down the big tech companies who are controlling everybody. Putting like contacts in that project shit or whatever.
No, I think the
that
one's gonna
ad's
break.
Literally playing in your brain.
Well, I will tell you this: there's one coming that's gonna. They talking about they want a great reset. It's coming.
It is,
but it is not going to be the way that they think that it is.
Nope.
And they've always. How is it they always think that they can thwart God's plan? He's God.
Because the devil overplays his hands quite a bit.
Yeah. And everything that he does, that it's like God will turn it around for good. You just may have to wait for a while to see it.
Oh, and that wait may be a hot minute.
Yeah. Final thoughts, kid.
Get lost in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Write your own stories.
Absolutely. Help other people learn to write.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit down and write a whole novel. Short stories.
Go outside. Experience what it is. Have a book with you while you're sitting outside. Don't have your phone with you. Just sit outside with a book and maybe a glass of tea or something.
Mm-hmm. That or sit outside with a notebook or whatever and write.
A journal.
And yes, and write your experiences to truly be present.
Mm-hmm.
To describe how the sights, sounds, smells, all of it.
Yeah.
Taste, touch. That's what it is to be human. And you're never going to truly, it's always a matter of impressionism, but it's always valuable. It's your experience.
I mean, when I take off my glasses, everything is very much impressionism.
Sometimes with the stigmatism, yes, we see the world a little bit different.
Yeah.
So that was your final thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Okay. If you've had experiences with the paranormal, what?
Actually, I think any artist sees the world in a different light.
Sure.
Than normies do.
Yeah.
In a way, those artists do see the world through a lens of sorts.
We see through it's like seen through our heart a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people have eyes,
well, that's
and yet
the
they're
lens.
blind.
Is that not?
Huh?
That's the lens, is that not?
I think so. I don't know any other way. That's
Right.
why I'm so lost right now in today's, what they're calling reality. I'm so lost. Anyhow, if you've had experiences with the paranormal or supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, any of that good stuff, if you write a story and would like to share it, please do. You can email us cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and that's there in the description box somewhere.
Yeah, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads, even though it doesn't do much, but it likes the affection. Check her out on X.
I think I'm supposed to be out of the penalty box in a few hours.
Yeah, her is Warlanda, COCWX. Warlanda, COCWS on X. It's like a radio station call sign. You know that. You'll find her. Thank you all for joining us. Also, watch her on Rumble, BitChute.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on in? Are you
Yeah,
still on
it's a
Odyssey?
site. No, Odyssey. They be gone.
Yeah,
They be
okay.
gone. God love them.
Did they shut down?
No, it was.
Or you just don't go
I
on
just
there?
shut down on that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Like I said, you got to have some kind of feedback. Some kind of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So know that you are very loved,
Yes.
and treat other people the way that you would like to be treated.
Touch grass.
And Lord willing, we will see you on the next go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Touch grass.